Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 4 furniture styles I only encountered after moving to America. Furniture styles, I'm not going to lie, I don't really know what sort of differences there'll be here. But we're going to see. Is this one of them? I don't know. I don't even know. Is this just a sun chair, I think? But we're just going to see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's just check this video out and see some of these furniture styles that I guess I won't have ever seen or I'm just not used to. And yeah, let's just jump into it.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to furniture. Specifically, furniture that I only encountered after moving to the United States. And you might be thinking to yourself, Lawrence, are there lots of differences between British and American furniture? And the answer to that is no. Both countries have tables, sofas, rocking chairs, little footstools. And the truth is, in order to produce this video today and give you a listicle worth your time, I had to dig very deep into my memory banks, which have been forged over 16 years of living in America. And the more research that I did for this video, the more I discovered that not only were these pieces of furniture often invented in the United States, but have gained a following in Britain since I left. We're going to talk about that, but while watching this video, keep in mind this is my experience and nobody can take that away from me. Shut up, plane.
Fair enough.
So I hope, like me, you're sitting comfortably, and if you're not yet one of my big-time subscribers, do that now. In the meantime, let's talk about furniture that I only encountered after leaving Britain and moving here to the Midwest. I think it's important to start this video, just like with most videos where I talk about British versus American things, talking about some of the terminological differences between our two countries, and most of those seem to centre around sofas. What do you call a sofa? Now, many...
Sofa. I call like warm sofas. You see like leather ones or leather sofas. I tend to call them like couches. I don't know why I sort of differentiate, because there's no reason to. And also I don't like leather sofas either. I think that's the worst thing. When I was at home and I grew up, we always had leather chairs because we had pets, and they're just awful. Like when it's hot, it just sticks to you. It's just not fun. But I guess we're gonna see. I don't actually know what Americans call them. I think Americans say sofa, right?
People in America, and I dare say people in Britain, will in fact use the word sofa, but you also hear in America the word couch. I would say even more commonly, at least here in the Midwest. It's just quicker. One syllable. And while that word may well exist in Britain, we have...
It's also more letters. So is it quicker?
Some of our own terms for it. Where I was growing up in Grimsby, we used to call it a settee, which is terminology mostly associated with the north.
My grandparents called it a settee, to be fair. And I was always like, wait, what do you mean a settee? And I think I finally understood after years of them saying it. It's such an interesting one though, because I think that's a more of like an old-fashioned term, and not what people say now.
North of Great Britain. But also in America, the word sofa, much like the word soda, has one or two regional synonyms. Some people call it a Davenport, even though a Davenport historically is a very specific type of couch. It's done what often happens in the linguistics of both countries, where this very specific type of couch took on a more genericized meaning in certain parts of the country, but it's rare to hear it called that. Confusingly though, and equally historically, a Davenport in the UK was something entirely different, but nonetheless a piece of furniture. And you guess what it was? It was a sort of writing desk with lots of little drawers that could pull out of it. Not recommended that you sit on that. So we get to our first piece of furniture, which in fact comes in the form of a bed, or I should say a type of bed frame known as a box spring. Now, there'll be some of my British viewers going, we have that in Britain. Yeah, I've learned that. Europe as well. But as somebody who grew up with slats...
I have slats. I didn't even know that was what it was called either, but I have these. And I've never seen this springy one, to be honest.
Inside his bed. Everywhere I lived, I think, I can anecdotally confirm the kind of statistic that suggests that box spring beds are significantly less prominent in Britain than they are in the United States, where they were invented. There's another plane. But the box spring bed is as American as apple pie, even though that was invented in England. And actually, it has a little known connection to the California gold rush of the mid-19th century. You see, there was this bloke called Tyler Howe, and he was a ship guy, and he was just sort of sailing around South America, as you do, and I don't know, he must have looked at Instagram or something, because he got wind of this gold rush happening in California, and so he actually sailed up toward California, much like all of the prospectors, except it didn't really work out for him. He found no gold, so he headed back to his home state of Massachusetts with very little money and a bad temper. But that bad temper was made even worse, I think, by the fact that on his journey in this ship, the bed frames, which apparently were just sort of wooden planks nailed to the bed frame, would be really hard to sleep on. I mean, even with a mattress, because whenever the ship had any kind of in-flight turbulence, or the equivalent of it, but at sea, the movement of that foundation would transfer to the human on the bed, and it would be horrible, and they'd get sick. And so he said to himself, Tyler, how can we come up with something that prevents this from happening? And so out of that came the first box spring bed. He invented it, tweaked it, and then became really rich. And I
don't even really know what box spring means. Is it just like the bed, the I gotta search what a box. I don't really even know. Is it just within the actual mattress? But not boxing. Box spring bed. I think it's within the mattress. Or the mattress is just attached to the bed. I've never seen a box. I don't think I've ever seen these. I've never had one, so that's that. Oh no, I guess you. Oh, I'm saying this is the mattress. I'm so stupid. So you would put the mattress on top of this, and this is just. I don't actually know. Yeah. So this is under it, and then this is the mattress, and then this is the bed. Okay, but wouldn't it still move in the water? I don't know.
Idea spread around America like bed bugs.
Porch swings.
And now we get to talk about porch.
Is this like? But the porch is at the front of the house, isn't it?
Swings. Because again, porch swings do exist in Britain, apparently. I found them on Amazon.co.uk.
It's very rare that you'll find a porch home in the UK. You do occasionally get them. I feel like more so in like seaside towns. But yeah, you're not getting them throughout the UK.
Okay, but the big thing to mention here is their visibility to most people. And that's because porch swings, which typically you will find on actual porches on American houses, a lot of the time those porches will be at the front of the house. So you'll be walking down the street and you'll see somebody swinging away, drinking a beer. Accidents do happen. And that is not a visual that you'll see in the UK. Don't get me wrong, we drink plenty of beer. But we don't typically have porches on the front of our houses. The porches are usually reserved for the back garden. Also, I would add that not many back gardens are going to have them. I don't think, and this is just observational, this is my lived experience, I don't think porch swings are as popular in Britain as they are here. Number one, we don't have the weather for them commonly enough. And number two, given that we live in little miniature boxes, it could be possible that we just don't have the space for them. I was being sarcastic about the boxes. All that said, I have to give Britain its due. It might not have been as replete with porch swings as America is, but it can make the claim to have invented the modern swing, as in the thing that kids play on and sometimes fall off. This is attributed, in fact, to one British person in particular by the name of Charles Wicksteed, possibly the most English-sounding name ever. And he was in the news in the last 10 years because some people with a stake in the preservation of the history of the modern-day swing uncovered one of his prototypes, which they'd previously identified in a photo from the 20s.
Look how high they got.
That's the 1920s. And this swing set is said to be the oldest in the UK, if not the world. So to my British followers, and perhaps even more so to my American followers, the next time you find yourself pushing your niece in one of these things, or indeed pushing her out the way so that you can use it, as happened to me on many an occasion, spare a thought for Mr. Charles Wicksteed, who ultimately made this possible.
Shout, Charles, you made my childhood great.
I doubt he envisaged people using it while under the influence, but what can I say? I'm a trailblazer. And given my heralded status as a YouTube sensation, you could be forgiven for thinking that I do all of my editing from a hammock while sipping margaritas. But while that might be good for Instagram vibes, it's not so good for my posture, which is why I'm working with today's sponsor, FlexiSpot.
Always got a cheeky little ad, go on. Always got a chair. I could have done with getting this before I got this chair. God damn it. You should have gave me this ad a year and a half ago. Oh, I can't lie. I do actually want a desk that moves.
Smoothly reaches a height suitable for somebody with long legs like me. And when I say smoothly...
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. I do actually want a desk. What are they called? A desk. There's an actual term for it. I forgot what they're called. Because I want to start doing videos standing up. I can't ever lie. And that would be useful for that.
E7, E7 Pro, and E7L. The link is in my description.
I could get involved.
Below.
I can't lie.
From what I'm about to say, you might
Murphy
think that I have a
beds.
bed fixation, and I do. But I also
hell
have
is
a
a Murphy
fixation
bed?
with hiding places, and that's where Murphy beds come in. Sadly, I don't have a Murphy bed in my house to show you, but I have been to a few people's houses that do have them. And Murphy beds are those things, you may have seen them in films like Who
Well, they look like beds that should be in hospitals.
Framed Roger Rabbit, that just fold out of the wall.
Oh.
And they're quite useful, I suppose, when you don't have a lot of space. And even though I thought that these were probably just something that were confined to the early 20th century, apparently they're pretty popular still across the United States, to the extent that they saw a resurgence during the pandemic because people were obviously at home a lot and they just wanted more space in their tiny apartment. And believe it or not, I read into this online, the same thing happened in Britain. And I, for one, am a big fan of that, and I bet the same is true of their inventor. But when the Murphy bed was invented, it wasn't just about prioritising space. It was about what that space was suggestive of. And in fact, the word suggestive is quite a useful one here. It has its roots in the sex life of a San Francisco man from 1900. And that man was named William Lawrence Murphy, no relation, because Lawrence was his middle name and spelled with a W. But this is according to the Smithsonian, who said that Murphy invented the Murphy bed when he was falling for a young opera singer. We've all done it. And courting customs at that time would not permit a lady to enter a gentleman's bedroom, so his invention allowed him to stow his bed in his closet, transforming his one-room apartment from a bedroom into a parlour. And I don't know about you, but coming from Britain, where the word parlour was perhaps a bit less prevalent within our parlance, try saying that after 4 whiskies, parlour to me already has connotations of rompy-pompy. Now, just a few years later, of course, San Francisco suffered a devastating earthquake. I hope Mr. Murphy wasn't in bed at the time, because I'm just picturing the poor chap, and maybe the opera singer, enveloped vertically by the mattress, which I suppose would be quite useful in an earthquake.
Oh, what the hell is this? Adirondack chairs. I don't know. I don't know what this is at all.
And finally, the suspense has been building to this, my chairs, but not just
these chairs.
any chairs. These are Adirondack chairs. And
Adirondack.
anybody who's walked around my neighbourhood in the last 2 months will have seen about 100 of these, because people like to put them in their yards, sometimes in their front yards.
I mean, you have somewhat similar chairs, but not like this. Definitely never seen a chair like this.
Even if they don't have a porch, they'll just stick them on that front piece of grass. I'm a little bit more reserved than that, and I've got them here in the backyard. But people who follow me on social media will know that I consider this to be among the 50 greatest American inventions of all time. And that's because I'm lazy. And there are 2 major reasons for that. Firstly, the armrests.
They
They're
good for your back.
massive. Look at this. I don't want my arms just sliding off the side, which happens with a lot of armchairs. But the other major thing is the seat itself is actually at a backward angle. So it's very hard to get out of unless you have long legs like I do. And I think that's part of its charm, because it's kind of like when I'm sitting in the living room with the cat on me. The cat gives me an excuse to not get up for 3 hours. And I feel like these chairs sort of do the same thing. And my wife understands that, so she'll tell me, Lawrence, don't worry about mowing the lawn today, even though it looks horrendous. Kick back, enjoy yourself. What? No, I was just doing an impression of you. I don't need to tell you what I said, and also don't watch the video. No, I'm pronouncing the name of Adirondack chairs as if I've been saying it my whole life, but actually when I first heard of the word...
Oh, they go really low. Really, really low.
Through about 12 different permutations in my head, starting with Adirondack chair and Adirondack chair, and just, in the end I just had to hear it for myself and typed it into YouTube, only to discover that Adirondack is also a mountain range in upstate New York, and it's after that mountain range that the chair is named. But doing the research for this video, a coincidence popped out to me. They were invented, just like the Murphy bed, in about 1900. It's as if, as the 20th century began, America decided, you know what, we're going to experiment with just weird angles. And in this case, it was one American in particular, Thomas Lee, who was based in Westport, New York, which is just a short drive from the Adirondack Mountains. And they gained in popularity through a very unlikely source, and that unlikely source was tuberculosis sanatoriums.
Oh,
and that's because the
lovely.
armrests of these things, which for me are in the top 3 armrest styles in the universe, were positioned in such a way that it helped the chest of the person sitting in them to sort of open up, and so that they could breathe just that bit more easily. Nowadays, those armrests, of course, are used for not just your arms, but maybe a can of soda, which ultimately could lead to other health concerns. And so the respiratory benefit from them is handy once again.
Final
Of course,
words.
those of us who have rented over the years will know of another major difference between British and American furniture, which is that British apartments tend to be fully furnished and American apartments don't. Hence why I bought my own house. It's not the only reason. I wanted carte blanche to graffiti the wall.
To be fair, my apartment was not furnished. No, I mean, we had an oven, we had a built-in fridge, washing machine, but in terms of actual furniture, we had to buy all of that. Is that the case? Is British apartments usually furnished? I don't even know if that's true or not. I mean, maybe some. Maybe more like new builds and stuff.
Walls. Anyway, thank you to my patrons who make these videos possible.
Well, there we go. I mean, these chairs, I can't lie. Like, I've actually seen how far back they go. They look like they could actually be really comfy. Like, they go really low, and you just cushy sitting on it. The funny thing about complaining about the noise of planes is how loud the cicadas are. I couldn't even hear the planes. You left out one of the best benefits of Adirondack chair arms. You can put a beer on them and still have plenty of space for half a roast chicken. Yeah, it sounds like a good weekend thing to do. Just having your beer and your roast chicken. Porches were very popular in areas that were real hot in the days before aircon, when families would sit out on the porch at night because it was cooler than inside, and would even listen to the radio and hang out there. What, on the front? How come the front more than the back? Because you can actually... I guess maybe just because Americans maybe generally socialise more. Sitting on your front porch as opposed to your back garden just means you have more chance of just chatting to random people walking by or your neighbours. My mum said in the summers she would sometimes even sleep on their screened-in front porch when it was real hot and everyone felt safer back then. Gee, she would sleep on it. Fair enough. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Let me know these furniture styles. Have you got any of these? Obviously, the bed cupboard thing. Forgot what it's called. I've definitely seen that in like TV shows and stuff. But let me know if you have one, because are they like? Is there like a comfort in them, or has there ever been a scenario where you've been sleeping on it and suddenly your bed's just gone up and you've just found yourself asleep in your wardrobe or something? But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.